Welcome to AI ConvoCast, where we bring you the latest in AI and tech innovation. Quick housekeeping. Check out the affiliate links in our description. Using them supports the show, and please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Let's jump right in.
Today we will be looking at Meta delaying its next-generation AI model codenamed Avocado after internal benchmarks fell short of rivals. Morgan Stanley warning that a major AI breakthrough is on the horizon in the first half of 2026, and UiPath rolling out expanded AI governance controls with updates to its Anthropic and Azure OpenAI integrations. So let us get right into it. Meta has pushed back the launch of its next frontier AI model, internally codenamed Avocado, which was originally slated for release this month. According to reporting that first surfaced from the New York Times on the evening of March 12th, internal testing revealed that Avocado was not performing at the level Meta needed it to, when stacked up against the best models from competitors. Specifically, sources indicated that Avocado's performance landed somewhere between Google Gemini 2.5 and Gemini 3, which means it was trailing the top-tier reasoning benchmarks that models from OpenAI and Anthropic have been setting. Meta is now targeting May 2026, or potentially later for the release. One excerpt widely shared from the reporting noted that Meta has delayed Avocado's release to at least May from this month. Reuters confirmed details about the performance comparisons and follow-up coverage, and a summary shared through investor forums stated that the performance of Meta's new AI model currently falls between Google's Gemini 2.5 and Gemini 3. The delay is notable for a few reasons. Avocado was meant to be Meta's answer to OpenAI, Anthropic Claude Opus, and the Gemini 3 class of systems. Internal evaluations reportedly flagged weaknesses across reasoning, coding, and writing tasks. Perhaps even more interesting, reports suggest that Meta has discussed temporarily using Google Gemini models in certain consumer-facing services while Avocado matures. This is coming after Meta has poured enormous capital into AI infrastructure through 2025 and into 2026. So the delay underscores that simply spending more does not automatically translate into a leading model. Developer communities picked up on this quickly, with discussions framing the delay as evidence that billion-dollar training runs are no guarantee of dominance on internal evaluations. For now, Meta is heads down working to close the gap, and a May or later release gives the team more runway to iterate. Shifting over to Wall Street, Morgan Stanley put out a research note that generated a lot of conversation this past week. A Fortune report published on March 13th cited Morgan Stanley analysts warning of what they called a massive AI breakthrough expected in the first half of 2026. The bank's argument is that global markets are underestimating just how fast capability gains are accelerating. The headline that circulated across forums and social media read, "A massive AI breakthrough is coming in the first half of 2026, and Morgan Stanley says most of the world is not ready for it." The analyst pointed to the dramatic drop in inference costs over the past 2 years as one of the key accelerants. When you look at where inference pricing and model capabilities were on March 13th of 2024 compared to March 13th of 2025 and now March 13th of 2026, the trajectory is striking. One commenter on the Accelerate forum put it plainly, saying it has been literally a breakthrough of wild proportions just looking at the year-over-year changes. Morgan Stanley's note also flagged some real concerns, though. They highlighted risks around infrastructure strain, noting that compute capacity may not be scaling fast enough to support the simultaneous growth in both training and inference demand. The report aligns with separate Morgan Stanley analysis from earlier this year that projected hyperscaler AI capital expenditure intensity approaching dot-com-era levels. There is active debate about what form the anticipated breakthrough might take, whether it will be a leap in reasoning, advances in continual learning, or a step change in agent autonomy. The reaction online has been mixed. Some people argue Wall Street is hyping the narrative to justify the massive capital flows into AI infrastructure, while others believe the data genuinely supports that something significant is about to land. Either way, having a major institutional voice publicly forecasting a step function change in capabilities within months rather than years is meaningful and adds a real sense of momentum to the space. Now on to something a bit more under the radar but very relevant for anyone working with AI in enterprise environments. UiPath, which is one of the biggest names in robotic process automation, updated its March 2026 release notes as of March 13th, with a batch of changes focused on AI governance and connector management. The updates touch on several areas. There is a new authentication method for the Microsoft Azure OpenAI connector, which gives organizations more control over how their automations interact with OpenAI models hosted on Azure. There are also bug fixes specifically related to Anthropic Claude integrations, making those connections more reliable for teams that have built workflows around Claude. One of the bigger themes in this release is expanded data residency controls for generative AI activities. For companies operating in regulated industries or across multiple geographies, knowing exactly where your data lives and how it flows through AI-powered automations is critical, and UiPath is clearly responding to that demand. On the flip side, some automation triggers in Microsoft OneDrive, SharePoint, Gmail, Google Drive, and Google Sheets connectors have been deprecated for new builds. This means teams starting fresh will need to use updated methods going forward. UiPath also highlighted accessibility testing capabilities in the release, noting that it enables teams to continuously test and validate accessibility conformance. While none of this is about raw model performance or flashy new capabilities, it reflects something really important happening in how organizations are actually deploying AI. The focus is shifting from experimentation to operational discipline, making sure that as models get more powerful and integrations get more complex, the governance layer keeps pace. Companies want to use these tools at scale, and that requires exactly this kind of hardened infrastructure around authentication, data handling, and compliance.
Thank you for listening to AI Convo Cast. Please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Thanks and hope to see you again next time.